Jake Morrison stood in the center of the Great Council chamber on Nexus Prime. The room was huge, bigger than any building he had ever seen on Earth. Around him sat representatives from 47 different alien species. Some looked like insects, with too many legs. Others were made of crystal that sparkled in the light. A few were just clouds of gas floating in special containers. For 3 months, Jake had been defending his people. The humans were on trial and things were not going well. The aliens said humans were too violent, too dangerous to be part of their galactic family. Jake thought this was unfair, but the aliens had already made up their minds. The council speaker was a creature called Zixthala. It looked like a giant praying mantis, standing 12 feet tall with 4 arms and eyes like black marbles. When it spoke, its voice buzzed like an angry wasp. "The charges against the human species are clear," Zixthala announced. "They have taken worlds without permission. They refuse to control their population. They build weapons that are too powerful. Most dangerous of all, they think as individuals instead of working together like proper civilized beings." Jake stepped forward. He was a big man, a former soldier who had become a diplomat because someone had to speak for Earth. His uniform was simple compared to the fancy robes and strange clothing of the aliens around him. "Honored council members," Jake said, his voice calm but strong. "Humans have only settled on empty worlds. We have never taken anyone's home. We have shared our technology freely with anyone who asked. Yes, we build weapons, but only to protect ourselves and our friends." A crystalline being called Velnaris flashed angry red lights. "You reproduce too fast. You spread like a disease across the galaxy. Your ships are built for war, not peace." "We build our ships strong because space is dangerous," Jake replied. "Pirates attack merchant vessels. Strange creatures live in the dark between stars. We learned long ago that being prepared is better than being sorry." The insect-like Sectros representative clicked its mandibles. "Humans do not think as one mind. Each human wants different things. This causes chaos and conflict. Civilized species share thoughts and goals." Jake looked around the chamber. He saw fear in the alien faces, fear of something they did not understand. Humans were different, and that scared them. "Yes, we think for ourselves," Jake said. "But that is our strength. When one human has an idea, others can choose to follow or find a better way. We work together by choice, not because we are forced to." For hours, the debate continued. Jake presented evidence of human kindness, of the hospitals they had built, the trade routes they protected, the research they shared. But the aliens had already decided. They saw only what they wanted to see. Finally, Zixthala called for the vote. One by one, the species cast their decision. The warrior race called the Dreknari voted for humans. So did the merchant Quillians and the wise Ethereals. But they were only 3 voices against 44 others. "The council has decided," Zixthala announced. "The human species is banned from all galactic territories. Earth and its 47 colony worlds will be surrounded by an energy barrier. No human ship will be allowed to leave this space. This decision is final." Jake felt his heart sink, but he kept his face calm. "This is a mistake," he said quietly. "Humans have always been willing to work with others. You are making us your enemies when we wanted to be your friends." "The decision is made," Zixthala repeated. "Guards will escort you to your ship." As Jake walked out of the chamber, he passed close to Grimjaw, the Dreknari warrior who had voted for humanity. The wolf-like alien whispered quickly, "Not all agree with this choice, human. Remember that." Jake's ship, the Earth vessel Diplomacy, left Nexus Prime that same day. The quantum radio carried the bad news to Earth faster than Jake could travel. By the time he reached home, President Lisa Carter had already called an emergency meeting. The president was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She had led Earth through the difficult years of first contact with aliens. Now she faced the hardest decision of her career. "General Patterson, what are our options?" she asked. General Roy Patterson was an old soldier with scars on his hands and sadness in his voice. "Not many, Madam President. They have us surrounded." Their barrier technology is beyond anything we understand. We cannot break through by force. What about Dr. Wells? Has her research team found anything useful? Dr. Amanda Wells was young for such an important job, but she was the smartest person on Earth when it came to space travel. She had been working on a secret project for 2 years. Actually, Madam President, we have made a breakthrough, Dr. Wells said. We have developed a new type of faster-than-light travel. It does not use the same hyperspace lanes as the aliens. In theory, we could go around their barrier completely. The room fell silent. This changed everything. How sure are you that this will work? President Carter asked. We have tested it with unmanned probes, Dr. Wells replied. The technology works, but it is dangerous. We would be traveling into unknown space with no maps and no friends. General Patterson leaned forward. Madam President, I have something else to report. Our intelligence services have been watching the aliens for years. They are not as united as they pretend. Many species are unhappy with the Council's control. Some have even sent secret messages offering to help us. President Carter stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the lights of Washington, D.C., but beyond that was the energy barrier that now surrounded all human space like a cage. They want to make us prisoners in our own home, she said. They think we will just accept this and fade away quietly. She turned back to face the room. Well, they are wrong. Humans have never accepted defeat. When others try to limit us, we find new ways forward. If they do not want us in their galaxy, we will build our own. Madam President, Jake Morrison said, are you talking about war? No, Jake. I am talking about something better. We are going to prove them wrong. We will go beyond their space and build something greater than their council ever dreamed. When we return, and we will return, it will be as equals or as conquerors. The choice will be theirs. General Patterson smiled for the first time in months. What do you need from us, Madam President? Start Project Phoenix immediately. I want our best people working on colony ships, new weapons, and Dr. Wells' space travel technology. We are not just leaving this cage they put us in. We are going to build an empire. Dr. Wells nodded eagerly. How long do we have? As long as it takes, President Carter replied. But I want the first ships ready to launch within 6 months. Humanity has a new destiny waiting among the stars, and no alien council is going to stop us from reaching it. Outside the window, the energy barrier hummed quietly, keeping humanity trapped. But inside the room, the leaders of Earth were already planning their escape and their revenge. The aliens thought they had solved their human problem, but they had only made it much, much bigger. 6 months after the quarantine began, Captain Ryan Brooks stood on the bridge of the ESV Liberty. The ship was unlike anything humans had built before. It was sleek and fast, with engines that could tear holes in space itself. Dr. Amanda Wells had called it humanity's greatest achievement. Ryan just hoped it would not be their last. The Liberty carried 3,000 people in its belly. Scientists, soldiers, farmers, and engineers all slept in cold storage pods while the ship prepared for its first jump. They were volunteers, brave, souls who had left everything behind to find humanity a new home among the stars. Captain, all systems show green, said Lieutenant Kevin Price from his station. Kevin was young but brilliant, the man who had helped design the ship's computer brain called Ares. The machine could think faster than any human and plan better than any general. It would help them build cities on empty worlds in weeks instead of years. Dr. Wells, are you ready? Ryan asked. Amanda Wells checked her instruments one more time. She was nervous but excited. All her work for the past 3 years had led to this moment. The trans-dimensional drive is charged and ready, Captain. We are about to make history. Ryan took a deep breath. Through the window, he could see Earth, growing smaller behind them. Soon it would be just a memory. Take us out, Dr. Wells. Let's go find humanity a new future. The ship shuddered as space twisted around it. Reality bent and folded until suddenly they were somewhere else entirely. The stars looked different here, strange colors that hurt to look at. They had traveled farther than any human before them. Where are we? Ryan asked. According to my calculations, we are in the Andromeda Spiral. Dr. Wells replied. "We are beyond the Council's territory, beyond their maps, beyond their control." The ship's sensors began picking up signals. There were other ships out here, but they were not Council vessels. These ships looked old and damaged, like refugees running from something terrible. "Captain, we are being approached by multiple vessels," Lieutenant Price reported. "They do not match any known Council designs." "Put them on screen," Ryan ordered. The main display showed ships that looked like they had been through wars. Some were patched with metal from other vessels. Others had weapons that looked like they had been built from scrap. But despite their rough appearance, they moved with purpose and skill. A voice came through the radio, speaking in broken English. "Unknown vessel, you are in remnant space. State your purpose or be destroyed." Ryan stepped forward. "This is Captain Ryan Brooks, of the Earthship Liberty. We are humans and we come in peace. We seek safe passage and perhaps trade." There was a long silence. Then the voice spoke again, this time with surprise. "Humans? The ones the Council banned? How are you here?" "We found our own way," Ryan replied simply. "Follow our ships to the gathering point. Pack Leader Grimjaw will want to meet you." The human ship followed the strange vessels to a massive space station. It looked like it had been built from the remains of dead ships, welded together over many years. As they docked, Ryan saw creatures he had never imagined. Some looked like wolves that walked on two legs with gray fur and yellow eyes. Others were covered in scales and had gills on their necks. A few were made of metal and crystal, machines that somehow lived and breathed. Pack Leader Grimjaw was the largest of the wolf creatures. His fur was white with age, and scars covered his arms and face. When he spoke, his voice was deep and strong. "So, the banned humans have found their way to our refuge," Grimjaw said. "The Council calls us the remnants, the leftovers of dead civilizations. They think we are not worth their attention." "What happened to your people?" Ryan asked. Grimjaw's eyes grew dark. "Long ago, something came from the deep space between galaxies. We call them the Devourers. They ate our worlds, turned our people into slaves, destroyed everything we had built. Only a few of us escaped to this place." Ryan felt a chill run down his spine. "Are they still out there?" "Yes, and they grow stronger each year. The Council knows about them but does nothing. They think their barriers and treaties will protect them. They are wrong." Ryan made a decision that would change humanity's future. "Pack Leader Grimjaw, humans know what it is like to be cast out. We also know how to fight. Perhaps we can help each other." Grimjaw studied the human captain for a long moment. Then he smiled, showing sharp white teeth. "Captain Brooks, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship." Over the next weeks, the Liberty's crew worked with the remnants to find suitable worlds for human colonies. The remnants knew which systems were safe and which ones held dangers. In return, human engineers helped repair remnant ships and shared their advanced technology. The first human colony was established on a world they called New Texas. It was a dry planet with red soil and 2 suns, but it was rich in rare metals that could be used to build more ships. Colony Administrator Helen Scott supervised the landing as Ares began its work. Huge machines dropped from the Liberty's cargo holds. They hit the ground and immediately began to unfold like metal flowers. Within hours, the first buildings were taking shape. By the end of the week, New Texas had a spaceport, a power plant, and homes for 1,000 people. "Incredible," Helen said as she watched the construction. "On Earth, this would have taken years." Kevin Price smiled as he monitored Ares through his computer. "The AI learns from every world we settle. Each colony will be built faster than the last." News of New Texas reached other human expedition fleets through quantum radio. Soon, more ships arrived from Earth carrying more colonists and supplies. New California became a farming world. New Alaska specialized in research and development. New Florida focused on shipbuilding and manufacturing. Admiral Kate Thompson arrived with the first military fleet 6 months later. Her ships were different from the Liberty. They were built for war, with thick armor and powerful weapons. Kate had studied every battle humans had ever fought and learned from them all. Captain Brooks, Kate said when they met on New Texas. The president sends her. Congratulations. But she also sends orders. We are not just building colonies out here. We are building an empire. What do you mean? Ryan asked. The council thinks they have trapped us, but they have only made us stronger. We are free to grow, free to build, free to become what we were always meant to be. When we return to council space, it will be as conquerors, not as beggars. Dr. Wells made another breakthrough that changed everything. She discovered how to build hyperspace gates that did not rely on council technology. Humans could now travel instantly between their worlds without using the alien highways. This means we can expand faster than ever before, she explained to the growing council of human leaders. We can build a network of worlds that the council cannot touch or control. As the months passed, more human ships arrived in remnant space. Some carried families looking for new homes. Others brought scientists and engineers. A few carried soldiers and weapons because humans had learned that peace required strength. The remnants watched with amazement as humanity transformed the empty spiral into a thriving civilization. Worlds that had been barren for millions of years suddenly bloomed with life. Space stations appeared where none had existed before. Trade routes connected distant systems. Grimjaw met with Ryan on the anniversary of first contact. The old wolf warrior looked pleased as he watched human and remnant ships working together. Your people are remarkable, Captain Brooks, Grimjaw said. In 1 year you have accomplished what took us decades. We learned from good teachers, Ryan replied, but we are not done yet. The council banned us because they feared what we might become. Now we are going to show them they were right to be afraid. In the distance, the lights of New Earth flickered against the darkness. It was humanity's new capital, a world that rivaled anything in council space. From here, President Carter's successor would rule an empire that stretched across dozens of star systems. The quarantine had been meant to contain humanity. Instead, it had set them free to become something greater than the council had ever imagined. The galaxy was about to learn that banning humans had been the biggest mistake in galactic history. 30 years had passed since the quarantine began. On Nexus Prime, the new council speaker Veltaran sat in the great chamber reading disturbing reports. The mantis-like alien was smaller than the previous speaker, but his mind was sharper and more suspicious. These reports make no sense, Veltaran said to his aide. Entire pirate fleets disappearing overnight, trade ships being escorted by unknown vessels. Some worlds claim they have been contacted by something called the Terran Federation. The aide, a crystalline being named Sharnix, flickered nervously. Speaker, our sensors have detected strange energy signatures at the edge of known space. Ships of unknown design have been spotted in the neutral zones. Veltaran's compound eyes focused on the data. Could it be the humans? But that is impossible. They are trapped behind the quarantine barrier. That is what we believed, Speaker. But these new ships use technology we do not recognize. They are faster than our vessels and seem to appear from nowhere. Far from Nexus Prime, Admiral Jake Morrison Jr. stood on the bridge of the TNS Retribution. Unlike his father, who had been a diplomat, Jake Jr. was a warrior born on the frontier worlds. His uniform was black with the new symbol of humanity, an eagle with stars in its claws. His eyes were hard and cold, shaped by years of fighting pirates and exploring dangerous space. The Retribution was massive, bigger than any ship the Council had ever built. Its armor was thick enough to stop any weapon the aliens possessed. Its engines could outrun anything in space. Most importantly, its weapons could destroy entire fleets. Admiral, we are approaching the Vega system, reported Captain Linda Hayes from her position. The Draknari patrol ships are requesting assistance with a pirate attack. Jake Jr. smiled. The Draknari were one of the 3 species that had voted against humanity's ban 30 years ago. Now they were about to see what humanity had become. Signal the fleet to drop out of hyperspace. Let's show our old friends what the Terran Federation can do. The space around Vega suddenly filled with human ships. 12 destroyers, 6 cruisers, and the mighty Retribution itself appeared in perfect formation. The pirate ships that had been attacking Draknari merchants suddenly found themselves surrounded by vessels they did not recognize. Unknown ships. This is Pirate Captain Skullrack. Withdraw immediately, or we will destroy you. Jake Jr. activated the communication system. This is Admiral Morrison of the Terran Federation Navy. You have 60 seconds to surrender, or we will send you to whatever hell your species believes in. The pirates opened fire. Their weapons struck the human shields and did nothing. In response, the Terran ships fired once. The pirate fleet ceased to exist, turned into glowing gas in the space of a heartbeat. Warlord Fangtooth of the Draknari contacted the human fleet. His wolf-like face showed amazement, and something that might have been fear. Unknown vessels, you fight with honor and skill. What species are you? We are humans, Warlord Fangtooth. The same humans your people defended 30 years ago. We have not forgotten our friends. Fangtooth's ears perked up with surprise. Humans? But you were banned, trapped behind a barrier. The barrier is still there, Jake Jr. replied. We simply chose not to let it stop us. News of the battle spread quickly through Council space. The Terran Federation had revealed itself, and the galaxy would never be the same. On the merchant world of Quilnara, trade mogul Zephyrin received a visit from beings in strange uniforms. They called themselves Terran traders and offered technology that seemed like magic. These energy cells last 10 times longer than anything we have, Zephyrin told his advisors. Their computers are faster, their materials are stronger. Where did they get such advanced technology? The human trader, a woman named Carol Smith, smiled politely. We have had 30 years to develop without interference, trade mogul. When you have to survive in unknown space, you learn to innovate quickly. What do you want in return for this technology? Simple trade agreements, fair prices, honest dealing, and perhaps a few friends in council space. Zephyrin looked at the samples again. If even half the human claims were true, this technology could make his people the richest in the galaxy. The Quillians are always willing to do business with reasonable people. On the scholarly world of ethereal mist, wise beings of pure energy studied reports of human contact. Elder Mindwalker floated in his meditation chamber, processing information from across the galaxy. The humans are not what they were 30 years ago, he told the gathering of ethereal elders. They have grown, evolved, become something new. Their minds are still individual, but they work together with a purpose we did not expect. Are they dangerous? Asked another elder. All growth is dangerous to those who choose not to grow, Mindwalker replied. The humans faced extinction and chose transformation instead. The question is not whether they are dangerous, but whether we are wise enough to accept what they have become. Back on Nexus Prime, Speaker Veltarin called an emergency session of the Council. Representatives from 47 species gathered to discuss the human problem. The evidence is clear, Veltarin announced. The banned humans have somehow escaped their quarantine and built a spacefaring civilization. They call themselves the Terran Federation and possess technology beyond our understanding. The Sectro's representative clicked angrily. This is impossible. Our barriers were perfect, no ship could have escaped. Yet they did escape, rumbled Warlord Fangtooth. And their warriors saved my merchant fleet from pirates. They fight with honor. Trade mogul Zephyrin activated his communication crystal. They also trade fairly and possess technology that could benefit all our species. The crystalline Vorthak flashed angry red patterns. They are still humans. They are still dangerous individualists who threaten our stability. What stability? Asked Elder Mindwalker, his energy form pulsing with emotion. For 30 years, piracy has increased. Trade routes have become unsafe. Our military grows weaker while threats from beyond known space grow stronger. Perhaps we need dangerous individualists. The debate raged for hours. Some species wanted war with the humans. Others wanted trade agreements. A few simply wanted to understand how humanity had accomplished the impossible. Finally, Veltarin called for order. We must send a delegation to make contact with this Terran Federation. We need to understand their intentions and capabilities. I volunteer to lead this delegation, said Warlord Fangtooth. The Draknari have always respected strength and these humans have proven their strength. As the Council argued, Jake Jr. received new orders from Earth. President Marcus Cole, the grandson of the woman who had first ordered humanity's expansion, had a message for the galaxy. "Admiral Morrison," the president said through the quantum communicator, "the time for hiding is over. The council wanted to judge us 30 years ago. Now it is our turn to judge them." "What are your orders, sir?" "Deploy our fleets throughout council space, not as invaders but as the new protectors. Show them what humanity has become. Show them that the species they tried to cage has built an empire." Jake Jr. smiled as he passed the orders to his fleet commanders. Across council space, human ships began appearing in systems that had known only alien rule for thousands of years. They came not with threats, but with offers of protection, trade, and friendship. The galaxy that had banned humanity was about to discover that their greatest mistake had created their future masters. The hunters had become the hunted, and the age of council rule was coming to an end. In the deepest parts of space, ancient sensors detected the movement of the human fleets. Something that had slept for millennia began to stir. The Devourers had noticed the new power rising in the galaxy, and they were interested. The real test of humanity's empire was yet to come. President Marcus Cole stood in the rebuilt council chamber on Nexus Prime. Unlike his grandfather, who had faced rejection here, Marcus was surrounded by respect and even fear. The chamber had been redesigned with human touches, cleaner lines, brighter lights, and seats arranged in a circle instead of the old hierarchy. The alien representatives sat quietly as Marcus prepared to speak. Some looked nervous, others curious, but all of them paid attention. The old council that had banned humanity was gone, replaced by something new and better. "Honored delegates," Marcus began, his voice carrying easily through the chamber. 35 years ago, you made a decision about my people. You called us dangerous and locked us away like criminals. Today, I stand before you not to seek revenge, but to offer a better future." Speaker Veltaran shifted nervously in his seat. The mantis-like alien had spent months trying to understand how the humans had become so powerful. Now he was about to learn the truth. "You were afraid of what humans might become," Marcus continued. "I am here to tell you that your fears were justified. We did become dangerous. Dangerous to pirates, dangerous to oppressors, dangerous to anyone who threatens innocent people. But we also became something else. We became protectors." In the audience, Warlord Fangtooth nodded approvingly. Over the past months, human ships had defended Draknari colonies from 3 separate pirate attacks. His people now sang songs about the brave Terran warriors who fought alongside them. Trade mogul Zephyrin counted the profits in his head. Human technology had made the Quillians the richest species in known space. Their energy cells, computers, and manufacturing systems were years ahead of anything the Council had developed. Elder Mindwalker floated peacefully in his containment field. The wise ethereal had spent weeks studying human philosophy and found it fascinating. These beings combined individual thinking with collective action in ways that created something greater than the sum of their parts. The old council feared change, Marcus said. It tried to keep the galaxy the same forever. But the universe does not stand still. While you debated and made rules, real threats grew in the darkness beyond your borders. As if summoned by his words, Admiral Jake Morrison Jr. entered the chamber. Behind him walked beings that made some of the aliens gasp. The remnants. Pack leader Grimjaw's scarred face was grim as he approached the speaker's platform. "Tell them, old friend," Marcus said to the wolf warrior. Grimjaw's deep voice filled the chamber. "Honored delegates, my people were once like you. We had a great civilization, beautiful worlds, and powerful fleets. We thought we were safe behind our barriers and treaties. Then the Devourers came. The chamber fell silent. Every species had heard whispers of the Devourers, but few knew the truth. They consumed everything," Grimjaw continued. "Our worlds became food for their machines. Our people became slaves to build their ships. In 1 year, 1,000 worlds died. Only a few of us escaped to tell the tale." Veltaran leaned forward. "But that was long ago. Surely this threat has passed." Jake Jr. stepped forward, his uniform displaying the scars of recent battles. 3 months ago, Devourer scouts attacked the outer colonies. They are testing our defenses, learning our capabilities. The ancient enemy has awakened, and they are coming for this galaxy. The chamber erupted in panicked voices. Some delegates called for immediate evacuation. Others demanded that their fleets be recalled to defend their homeworlds. A few simply sat in stunned silence. Marcus raised his hand for quiet. The old council would have debated this threat for years while worlds burned. The Terran Federation has a different approach. We fight. You expect us to follow human leadership? Clicked the Sectro's representative. Your species was banned for good reasons. No, Marcus replied calmly. I expect you to follow the species that has actually defeated the Devourers. The chamber fell silent again. This was news to everyone except the humans and remnants. Jake Jr. activated a holographic display showing a recent battle. 2 weeks ago, a Devourer fleet attacked our colony world of New Arizona. They brought 30 ships, each the size of a space station. We destroyed them all without losing a single human life. The display showed human ships moving like dancers through space, their weapons striking with impossible precision. The massive Devourer vessels crumbled under the assault like sandcastles hit by waves. How? Whispered Elder Mindwalker. Doctor. Amanda Wells, now elderly but still brilliant, stepped forward. We learned from the remnants. We studied Devourer technology and found its weaknesses. Most importantly, we built our entire civilization around one principle. Never again would humans be helpless. The choice before you is simple, Marcus said. You can cling to the old ways and face the Devourers alone, or you can join us in building something better. Not human rule, but partnership between all free species. Warlord Fangtooth stood up. The Dreknari have already chosen. We stand with humanity. Trade mogul Zephyrin activated his communication crystal. The Quillians also choose partnership with the Terran Federation. Elder Mindwalker's energy form pulsed with decision. The Ethereals vote for wisdom and growth. We join this new alliance. One by one, other species announced their support. Even some who had opposed humanity began to see the benefits of working together. Only a few, led by the crystalline Vorthak and the insectoid Sectros, refused to accept the new reality. We will not bow to human superiority, flashed the Vorthak. Representative. Marcus smiled sadly. Then you will face the Devourers alone. We wish you luck. The holdout species stormed out of the chamber, but they represented less than a quarter of the old council. The majority had chosen to join humanity's new Galactic Federation. Over the following months, the transition was remarkably smooth. Human technology flowed to allied species, making their ships faster and their weapons stronger. Alien knowledge helped humans understand new sciences and explore strange phenomena. Most importantly, the combined fleets began preparing for the Devourer invasion. The new Federation's first real test came 6 months later. A massive Devourer fleet, larger than anything seen in recorded history, emerged from the space between galaxies. Hundreds of world-eating ships headed toward the galaxy's core. Jake Jr. commanded the defense from his flagship, now renamed the TNS Unity. Around him flew ships from dozens of species, all working together under human coordination. All fleets, this is Admiral Morrison, he broadcast. Today we fight not as separate species, but as one people. Today we show the universe that freedom is stronger than slavery, that cooperation is stronger than conquest. The battle lasted 3 days. When it was over, the Devourer fleet was destroyed, and the galaxy was safe. But more importantly, something new had been born from the fires of war. Standing in the rebuilt council chamber 1 year later, Jake Morrison Sr. watched his son receive the highest honor the new Federation could give. The old ambassador was proud but not surprised. He had always known that humanity's greatest strength was not their weapons or their technology, but their refusal to accept defeat. 36 years ago, they tried to cage us, the old man said to his granddaughter, Captain Lisa Morrison of the TNS Enterprise. They thought they were solving a problem. Instead, they created the force that would save them all. Lisa smiled as she watched the ceremony. Representatives from over 100 species now sat in the chamber, all equal partners in the Galactic Federation. The barriers between worlds were gone, replaced by hyperspace highways that connected every inhabited system. "What's next, Grandpa?" she asked. Jake Sr. looked out the window at the stars. In the distance, human ships were preparing for another journey, this time to the Magellanic Clouds where new threats and opportunities waited. "The same thing that's always been next for humanity," he said. "We keep moving forward. We keep growing. We keep proving that the only limits that matter are the ones we accept." The galaxy that had once banned humanity now flew under the protection of human fleets. The species that had called them dangerous now called them friends. And somewhere, in the deep spaces between stars, the next chapter of human expansion was already beginning.